Thank you a lot for the fantastic beginning in the morning. Thank you, Sandhya, to make it finally. She came all the way dashing from the airport to reach here on time, and Manoj is a very busy person. To get him here was something. Normally it is not easy to get his access. So, but when I made a request, I humbly requested him, and he was so kind and generous to accept the invitation. Thank you so much. And also recognize presence of eMerge Vice President we have here, our good friend Pratibha. So thank you very much for being here, and all the beautiful people out here who have been contributing to the cause. And I'll just take a few minutes of yours where we'll just put the perspective of what the cohort is all about. And this is, it's put almost a 1 year effort to actually spot the right businesses, and we had this idea of running each cohort for 1 quarter. So that means we thought we will do 4 cohorts in a year. But then we thought that was it the number game, or was it more of a qualitative effort which we need to look at? So what is it that we are specialist in is that we have a consortium of funds and boutique of funds associated with us, and we are creating the deal flow for them. So if we are creating deal flow, it has to be a very curated startup, and it has to be worked on, which makes it an attractive thing. So I personally feel no business idea can be rejected as a bad idea. There is always a purpose, there is always an economy available, there is always a business model available which will make sense at some given point of time at some place. Now the question is, are we able to take that and put it out there in the right place? And that's the job that we do as mentors, that's the job we do as facilitators. So now I would like to just walk you through quickly, because many of you also have the pressure to be in the Invest Karnataka scenario. I would just to put it on record that Venturize, I mentored a couple of startups on aerospace stuff, and I was also supposed to be there, but unfortunately the pressure is too much to be committed out here. So now can I request you to play the please? Yeah. So just wanted to give you an overview of the whole cohort. And so what is this all about? So the 7.0 the version that we have, it is something designed and a lot of effort has been put out here. Now what happens is, normally when we are working on a startup, the expectations are that the moment we start, everyone thinks, or most of us think, that the success story or the growth story is all about a straight line going upwards. But what actually happens in the actual journey is that we start somewhere, then get stuck somewhere, then we do a couple of mistakes, then took a detour, then we again find our way back, and then we keep moving on. Now the most important part here is not to give up, right? So there are times when they say the mortality of businesses are very low. Now, I would like to defer here. What you see here is a journey where how much of the strength of the ecosystem enables them to keep the movement going on and on. So, right, so there are many moments where we feel, oh, this is enough. I think I've had enough of this. Let me take a break. But then, can I keep going? Now, that's where the ecosystem support works as an acceleration. Now, next. So, normally this is a example given in the management context, which is for the side effects or the flip side of the economic perspective. Now, what we call the bull effect, the bullwhip effect. Now, it's like you take the whip and you whip it. So what happens? A small demand somewhere, gets triggered. And that triggers a complete chain reaction in the process of the supply chain, and in the end what happens, the whole industry starts getting into excessive production and commitment and concentration on that by what got triggered by a small demand, and the demand may have altered already on the ground reality, but then the entire supply chain keeps going on and on and on till the inventory is so much in excess that the entire the demand itself dissipates. Now this is an example which is given in the ecosystem in economic point of view. But now I would like to take this as an accelerator point of view for a startup. How does this work? Maybe the demand could have been the trigger point, but the supply chain and the entire activity that creates the whole supply chain to accelerate, that can be converted into multi-purpose solutions, and that is where thinking differently as an accelerator makes a sense. Giving an example, during the COVID or just before the COVID, what happened is Syntex. All of you know Syntex as a water tank producing equipment producing organization. So it's a plastic or a fiber water tank that you can recall, most of you. Now what they did was, just before the COVID, they invested in, they have a very good manufacturing facility in Odisha, and they invested a lot in the north expansion, west, and also in the south, right? And they put so much of investment that the inventory was very huge, anticipating the growth in the construction industry. Now suddenly there was COVID and they were sitting with a pile of inventory, and that was what they call as the bullwhip effect. And now they didn't know what to do with that excessive inventory. So now either they go in the negative list because of the stock not going out, or they have to do something about it. So now if you look at it, we worked on it, and then there was some solution worked out as to how the excessive inventory pile-up can be created and introduced to a new market, a blue ocean approach which doesn't even exist. So we came up with this thing, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and we had a tie-up with them. We said this is a straight instant fix for the toilets to be the rural spaces and all where toilets were constructed. So we said this is a quick fix, right? You just do some kind of alteration and then use it as a shelter there. Then there was also some people with design thinking came up with using it as a two-wheeler parking garage. And some people even thought of low-cost housing, right? Where in this jungle lodges and remotest place where checkposts and all that, so they use that as the shelter space. So there was suddenly a new demand created and the inventory completely got exhausted. So what example I am giving here is that as an accelerator, we can think differently and assist the startups to accelerate their growth and find different ways of creating and touch base with the new markets, right? And that is what we are using as a technique here, as a unique thing in 7.0. Next. So, as I was mentioning, diversifying the supply base can help reduce dependency and improve the supply chain resilience. And same way, startups, promotion activities and discounts results in sudden demand spikes and ordering, amplifying the bull effect. So now what I am trying to talk about here is this has been deployed in the last couple of months as a demonstration, and now we have a set of case studies that can be projected into where it can be becoming a role model for the other startups. Right, next. So now this is some of the startups overview that we have in the current cohort. We have, as of yesterday, 32 registrations completed, and now some of them have to meet the compliance requirement. So the process goes on, but then the cohort actual implementation starts from Monday onwards. Yeah, next. So what do we do? 70% of the whole activity will be around the mentoring and reworking the business model and go-to-market strategies. At the same time, also innovative methods of getting access to the investments. And then 59% of the effort will be towards connecting to the aggregated market connect that we have built. Okay, next. So the speciality of this whole cohort is that most of them have already, before they start the acceleration, have been confirmed to be attached with some investment option that we already have identified within our basket, and then we are now putting them on a trajectory path where they'll be constantly monitored by the investment, and they will be ensured that at the end of the cohort they will be getting converted to term sheet. So it is not some kind of an experiment or pushing you into some kind of a self-walking trust walk kind of a thing. This is actually inbuilt with a straitjacket approach. At the end of it, you go walk with certainty of what you are going to get out of it. Next. So the overview is that we have the largest captive market in the country to offer, with about 12,000 rural startups that we have created, legally registered in Karnataka, and we have about 1,20,000 youth under us who have been part of this journey in the last 2 years, and that market actually becomes the producer market for the startups to get engaged with, and that is what we are offering out here. And plus we have a large that is aggregated market created for the agro business corridor that we have built in Karnataka. So we bring all those values out here, and then we connect the marketplace with the startups. So if you are a deep tech startup and you have a particular solution, how do you fit into this game of schemes here and add value or find your marketplace, that way. So each of the idea will go and connect to something that is there already in the inventory. Next. So the whole process is designed in this method. First is we define what is your compass. As a startup, how do you relook and pivot your business and build your compass, and then unlocking the key to the black box, that is what is in store of opportunities and probabilities that are there within the scheme of things that we have, and how do you unlock it and see that there is a potential that is identified for your exclusive trajectory path. And then we are crafting the compelling brand value and the identity that which requires to build the traction of investments and also the traction of customers. Then elevating your wealth management, that how do you convert your business idea not just with a transactional value of profit, but also to look at how you can create wealth out of your entire idea and connect to the ecosystem. Finally, what are the risk factors that you are getting exposed to with the geopolitical situation and various policies suddenly, taking a U-turn and so many things happening in the market? How do you de-risk yourself in perspective of your business as well as in perspective of the investor? And then finally, the titration happens where we ensure at the end of the day, all that we have picked up in the last 12 weeks effort is given finishing a touch to the boot camp, and then final the D-Day is when your term sheet is signed. So you are not just demonstrating out there to the investors and dabbling with investors, but you are going with certainty. At the end of the day, when you in the D-Day, you will sit in front of your actual investor and you will close your transaction in terms of investments, right? Now this is the model that we have designed, and that's how we are working. And we also have Murli here. Thank you, Murli. Yeah. So he is representing our Infowise fund. He is the managing director of our Infowise fund. And the journey all started with Manoj Agarwal, and the Infowise also got, actually I would say he supported us a lot in starting the fund. So at the end of it, I hope you got a clarity of the 12 weeks activity that we have. So can I request quickly the next one? Yeah. Yeah. The immersive learning. So we have the Sarthi who handholds the startup from start to finish. They are like key account mentors who ensure the business processes and all the various aspects of the model is taken care of, so that there is no slip off and gap in the learning. And then the domain experts, the acharyas, they look into the specific business. So whatever business that you or the sector that you represent, they will be the domain experts from that area, right? And then of course we have a lot of gamifications, and we have a lot of other approaches, models where immersive learning is designed. So we have about 700 tools that we have created, which not only works on the strength of the co-founders, how committed are you to the business, to the extent of what your business model is and how you take the business model, and the problem solving quotient also. And finally we have the knowledge sharing sessions, which are designed to make you think differently, to break down the mental blocks, the conditioning of the mind, and make you see the exponential factors that can be imbibed or that can be embedded into your business. And that's where the experts come and we work. These are all IP driven programs. Yeah. Next. So the overall perspective of the cohort is largely on this kind of parameter. As you can see, the MVP, the matrix that we have here is customer acquisition, the customer retention, engagement, satisfaction and revenue. We will go through the entire testing of this, of your business, and rework on it to see where it needs to be strengthened. Then once you have completed it, there is a scorecard here. The scorecard enables you to understand whether you have met the parameters, and then you move on to the next, the growth. In the growth, we look at the sales revenue, all these metrics. Okay, unless you meet these metrics, we will not be pushing you into the investment readiness. Right? So the investment readiness component has these following factors that are taken into consideration. Right? And then at the end of it, what do we do? The level 1 is about the debt instruments, or we look at if suppose your business doesn't need equity, or it doesn't have the capability to absorb or readiness to take in equity solution, then we route you through the debt instruments, right? And then we look at if the idea is ready for acquisition of angel investment, then we push into that, or then we say if this is ready for large scale scaling up, so then we take you to the venture fund. So all these funds are already attached to us. There are about 12 institutional funds that are already working with us, and there are several banks attached to us. So we have all these things structured. Yeah, next. So finally, what is it that we end up as the 7th step that we are working on? Now these are the approaches that we take on, right? Largely, the development of the compelling business plan is what triggers the entire effort. So the next please. Yeah. So our objective is not to build unicorns. We are very, very specific. Our interest is to build zebra startups. Zebra startups are those who make profits, right? But also create a lot of social impact. Now, our strategy is we are focused on the district development of each state in India. So, every district has certain business potential, and what are the gaps, skill gaps, or the production gap, or the opportunity gap. We have made a study along with Niti Aayog, and with that study, we are working with startups to identify. So, our objective is not just to accelerate business, but there is some larger purpose that we are working on. So we identify these zebra companies and then aggregate them and then take them to a larger value creation, right? So that is one part, and then constantly work with you to create the market viability and connect you to the opportunities that are already existing within the system that we have built. Yeah. So with this, I think the overall perspective has been very clearly defined and allotted. So with this, we will be taking the cohort forward. And I also welcome all the honorable mentors who have put a lot of dedication. Some of you have already got certified. You have gone through a grueling process of certification also and attended those processes, and you have also taken so much special interest in being part of this journey. So a warm welcome to all of you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this journey. And now in this cohort, we are looking at amplifying the work that we have done so far, because this we are now at the cusp of making our entire effort at a global scale, right? So we are now looking at not only Indian market, but we are also looking at activating our global presence, which my good friend and our colleague Yogesh will be sharing a little later. Thank you so much.